welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your Chantele Francis here, back with Melissa Best to talk about the Traitors Canada Season 2, Episode 6, The Cage. Melby, how you doing? Overall thoughts of this episode?
Oh my God. I know I say it every week. I'm just getting more and more into it. Every episode feels better than the last. So I love this episode. I love that the Conclave is now becoming a round table. Like the heat in here
100%.
is insane. Michael John really stood out to me this episode. He's funny. Like he's just funny. It's a good episode. It was like there was like a blind side round table. I'm excited to get into it today.
100%. I have to agree with you that, the faithfuls aren't the best faithfuls. As we learn from Miss Cudden, she does not think the faithfuls are necessarily doing a good job, but they are delivering in entertainment. And so it's a television show. Not everybody's going to be great at the game. And so at least they're great at entertaining. And so I was thoroughly entertained. I have lots to say about all the things that went down. I really missed it being gone for a week. I was like, where are we? Like, what happened last? And then we get right to the beginning of it, like the knock, knock, knock on the door, Corinne coming to them. You're nodding?
Yeah, I'm still mad, honestly, that we didn't get any last week because it really, it left on a really, really good episode, and it gave us a preview for this week's episode, which was also great. And then we had to wait a full week in between. And I'm telling you, I didn't think it would bother me as much as it did, but I really missed it last Monday. Now I need no interruptions from here to finale. Give me my weekly tea and leave it alone.
Do you know offhand when the finale will air? How many episodes would you expect? Is it 13?
What are we at? 6? Yeah, 12, 13. I would say we'd likely be going to December. I know we wrapped beginning December, maybe it might only be a couple because we went to the finale party that all the contestants organized. That was in the middle of December. So our finale was mid-December. So I'm assuming this one should line up around the same, but we didn't have a week skipped. But this one started earlier. It's probably going to be mid-December. It might be perfectly lined.
All right, well, I can take it. Take December. So 6 more episodes to go or so. Yeah, because I'm sure that they're not going to. I don't think that we'd miss a week for Christmas and then come back and have a finale, right?
That wouldn't make any sense. Normally things are wrapped up before, say, the New Year's schedule comes around.
So if we look at it this way, so today, the 4th was, okay, so that was the 6th, that was 7, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The 13th episode would be the 23rd, and the 12th episode would be the 16th. Say again?
Yeah, I'd say we're going to get 12.
12, so going till the 16th? Okay.
I
can handle that.
See if I can see the other.
I just want to know what happens, but I don't want it to be over. I'm kind of like a push and pull here. I'm like,
it's like when you finish a book and you wish that you never read it so you could read it again and have that same feeling. That's what this is. Every episode I'm like, yes, we're getting closer to the end, but also it's gonna be over. I don't want it to be over. So
oh my God, it totally reminds me of, do you ever go on Book Talk on TikTok when people talk about the books that they recommend and they're all like, okay, this is the list of books that I wish I could read again for the first time. And yeah, exactly. Totally agree that this season is like that for me. I want to know what happens. I want to, I'm flipping through the pages and I don't want to have to miss a week and I want to know what's going to happen. But when I get to the end, I'm going to be like, oh, I want to do it all over again. So
yeah, totally I love the messiness of the season. I mean, obviously we watch the mess. We love the mess, but I know everybody's these are the worst faithfuls. I love a bad faithful. And I mean, I don't know if that's because I was a traitor, but in all the other shows, I usually find myself, I don't necessarily root for the traitors or the faithful as a whole. I root for fun, strategic gameplay, wrong reads. I enjoy.
We'll remember this because this is how we differ. Because I'm usually looking for the strategy, looking for who's playing the best game, and so I'm allowing myself to just go with the the flow of it all and just be entertained. But I am missing the strategy part of it. Like, I want to see them get out of Faithful and see, does somebody get recruited? And I want to see like shifts in gameplay in that way, and see somebody else, see if they can handle being a traitor. So it's not really advancing the game in a strategic way that I generally like, but
Yeah.
I'm entertained. So
It is, that's a hard thing for traders too. I think we touched on this last week. Like it's harder to be strategic on traders. However, I do think we're seeing a little bit of it. I mean, I know we're going to get into it when we start doing the recap, but like a little bit there with Lauren and Kevin, they just both happen to not be traders, but they have the right idea. Like, I
absolutely,
know we're going to
being
talk
like,
about it, and I'm like, okay, I'm liking where this is going.
100%. And I think that that's the right way to play it. And so it's like, even if you're a trader, you're not a trader, it doesn't matter. I want to work with you. I trust you enough to want to work with you.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, is a great way to play. And it's fine that they're both not traders, right?
It's
Like,
funnier that they're not.
it's
It's funnier.
hilarious, but it's fun, right? Because they're not
Yeah.
going to try to get each other out. And they'll be working together still to try to get somebody else out, thinking that the other is a traitor and
So
the other is protecting each other, which is very funny. Like, when one of them gets like not banished, gets murdered, and they'll be like,
what the hell?
heck.
Yeah.
So Corinne comes to the conclave and she knocks on the door, and basically, instead of murdering somebody, the person that they're going to put up for murder is going to be put into a cage, and there's going to be a task for the faithfuls to find which key is going to unlock the cage of the person that they're putting forth to for murder. I thought this was an interesting twist. I don't believe I've seen anything like this in other iterations, right? This is
Yeah,
new.
it's brand new from my recollection. I really enjoyed it. I think it leaves a different level of strategy, because the person that they put in the cage, like, they know the key for one.
The
They
traders do. I didn't know
The
that the traders
traders,
would know which one was the key, but that's true.
right? So like, she shows them which one the key is going to be. So now they have the opportunity. They can put up, like, if I'm there and I'm a trader, I'm putting my closest ally or semi closest in that cage. Because if you think about it, it'll help clear you a little bit. And if you play it properly, you know they're going to get like one or two, like something is going to come up right. And I feel like you've got a better opportunity to play it so that they get released without it being obvious that like you knew where the key was. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely a way to play that off. So I feel like it's a great opportunity, especially with the dynamic that they have in the conclave right now. This was the opportunity to throw Michael John under the bus right here.
What?
Like,
So, do you think that he should have gone in the cage?
no, oh no. So what I mean is that, like, if like by putting Gail up, Gail is somebody that Michael would have wanted out. So it
Yeah.
keeps the suspicion on him. And then like another traitor finding a key and being like, let's pick this one. And if that key is the right key, that almost kind of like helps solidify that person a little bit more as a faithful, because all the traitors are going to want to murder anybody. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I totally understand. But we do hear at the beginning of this episode the potential of traitor on traitor crime being a thing. So I think it would be still a little bit risky for you to choose the correct key, even if it doesn't make sense for a traitor to be outing a traitor in the cage. And so right now it's a little bit sticky. It was a little bit earlier in the season. I think it would be easier to be like, yay, you know, I got the right one. But now that it's starting to get a little bit murkier and there's so many people are gone, I think, like, oh, convenient, you know which key it is, huh?
right.
Okay.
Like, is that something that they might not know in the moment, but maybe a couple more days they'll think back and be like, how did she know that that was the key? Or something like that could happen too. But like, so, okay, thinking of like if Michael John was in, because I did think about this after. I can see him volunteering. I'm glad he didn't.
I really thought he was going to when Karin was like, and you can choose yourself. And I was like, oh my God, are they going to push him to choose himself?
But can you imagine? So here's the way to get him out. you all convince him or trick him or whatever, because he's very gullible with the
And then be
girl.
like, no, 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 don't pick that key.
Exactly, and leave him in there, and then when he doesn't get murdered,
But
there's your silver
also, though,
platter.
he would know which one is the correct key. So he might be able to be like, Kira's lying. Kira's lying. Choose the first key. Like, or so, I don't know. He might be able to
But
muck
wouldn't that
things
be
up.
more obvious? You know what I mean? Because he's
Of
not
course.
sly. He's, like he's a little obvious about things, but which is what's making he's becoming one of my favorites. He's just
So
really
let's talk
comical.
about this conclave because Kira, as much as I felt that she's been playing a great game, I think that she needed just to bite her tongue with Michael John here and just allow him to gently kill his game. She
Mhm.
did not need to be so mad at him, in my opinion, anyways. Like, I don't know what it's like being there. And of course, I
100%.
understand the money means a lot to her, and like that really bothered her that he just threw that money away. But I
Mhm.
just wish that she was still being strategic with how she handled him in this situation, because she's just standing there, she's like, well, I'm not worried, and Netta's like, I'm always worried, like, and she's like,
Like,
you know what, I'm letting you take the lead, you decide, Michael John. And I was
it's
like, oh
actually
man.
I was wondering, like, kind of when we're gonna get to talk to her, because I wanna know if she's always worn her feelings on her face, because she couldn't even, like, every time he would talk, you could see, like, her mouth, like, her teeth clenched, like, I mean, I don't know what they're like now, but she hated him in that moment. Like, there was pure disdain for him in the conclave. And I agree. I think that's where, like, in her words, she's turning into a messy bitch. She's getting
Yeah.
messy.
Yeah, and Michael John is feeling really guilty. Like, he thought he was doing the right thing, taking away the opportunity for someone to get a shield here.
Mhm.
And then realizing how everybody was really upset by this move, he's feeling really guilty about it, and he can't take it back. So I understand that he just wasn't being strategic in that moment, and he thought he was
Mhm.
doing a good job. But oh man, why did he do that? And why
You
for
know
so
what?
much money?
I still like, again, because I'm on team blow the pot on stupid
We
things.
call them team
So
fun feeds.
team fun feeds. I am for team fun feeds. So I don't think it was a bad idea that he did this. I still think that Kara is, she got way too emotional about it. But like, realistically, like, okay, so Michael John, I think is very easy to manipulate. I think he's got a big heart. He wants to be a fun character. He's probably the guy that's like, I don't care, I'll send you home tomorrow or whatever. But then at the same time, I feel like he would be really easy to get close to you. So I think that by her showing her disdain, like, what they need to do is make him feel like he's the most loved. Like, they're pushing him out. They need to make him feel like he is the king of the team. And then because they say do something and he like jumps, like he's very gullible when it comes to Netta and Kira. And I really think that, like, the smart thing to do would be to mold him and get him to play the way that they want him to, and then throw him under the bus at the end. Like, that would
Yeah,
be the play, you
she just
know?
doesn't have the restraint.
She hates
Like,
him so
she
much.
just she just can't. Like, Netta sees what he's done, but she is willing to work with what he's done for the better of all of them. And Kira's like, nope. Like, that's literally the opposite of what I would do when Michael John was suggesting who he wanted to write down to go into the cage. Now, we left the conclave me thinking that it was going to be Mike that was going to be put in the cage. Did you
Mhm.
thought the same thing?
Yeah, I really was like, I just didn't think that the girls would allow Gail, but then the thought was like, oh, well, maybe they should allow Gail because they're friends with Gail. So it does help bury their cover a little bit and point fingers at Michael John. So it made sense, but originally I was like assuming it would be Mike.
But now, also though, wasn't both Gail and Mike in the Saints group?
Yeah. That's the
That's
big thing.
also
That's
really
the
bad.
They're trying to that also is some, yeah, they should have stopped that, because that, yes, does point fingers kind of like to somebody in the Saints, and then
Because
it's, we also
no
Michael
no
John.
trade. unless they're trying to do the double bluff, but being like the traitors know where the shield is, or like,
Mhm.
no, well, this group has a shield,
Yeah.
and if you don't know where the shield is, you would not target that group because you don't know if you would hit.
Well,
So
it
go ahead.
ended up being Kuzi's demise last season. So last season, Kuzi got the shield. She was on one team, Mike was on the other. The team that she was on got the shield, and then they still murdered somebody on Team Shield. And the faithfuls kept coming back to that, and they ended up just going through Team Red, I think it was,
Exactly,
and they
team.
got her.
And well, this is what Lori wants to do, right? Lori
Yep.
wants to go through Team Saints, and
Mhm.
they're going to start doing that. Like they have to. That's
And
the
it's
only smart
hard
thing to
because
do.
all 3 of them are there, like
Exactly. That's why I can't believe that they allowed him to do this.
yeah. Well, I
Unless
honestly, I
they're
think Netta was
hoping
gonna
that he
what?
gets unless they're hoping that he gets out, and so
And that's
that will
the traitor.
exonerate the both of them, and he
Mhm,
was the traitor. He was the one that knows or took the shield or knows where the shield is,
mhm.
and that could exonerate the Saints group.
I think that's their hope at this point. I
Mhm.
truly believe that Netta wasn't on board. I really
No,
don't think she was on board. She
but she
even
didn't want to get
stopped
in a fight with
coming.
Kira.
Exactly. She was like, "Well, we all," like, she actually said at one point, like, "We all decide together," and then, like, you can see her just feel defeated or look defeated and just go, "Okay, like, whatever you wanna do." But, like, I truly think that, like, if Kara was, like, a little less heated, like, she could be heated, but, like, on medium and not on, like, boil, then I think that Nana probably would have felt a little bit more comfortable saying, like, "Okay, listen, I know, like, you want one of these people out. It's a bad decision for all of us as a group. Let's take a shot at the other team." But I think that it was just so extreme that she was probably like, you know what? Like, okay, fine, just go ahead. Like, because
So
Carol's
Dreadful
intense.
Ruby here says, "I hope Michael John lasts longer than Kira at this point." Are you feeling the same way?
I mean, okay. I thought that he was gonna last longer. I wouldn't hate to see it because I do think it would be fun TV. I like all 3 of them. When it comes to Yeah, I do kinda want Michael John to last longer at this stage just because I think Kara is so well insulated, but I also think that she's blowing up really, really quickly. So, I just think it would also be really wild if, like, the most insulated, least suspected traitor went first.
So
I think
I
that'd be
totally
crazy.
understand where where Dreadful Ruby here is feeling.
Mhm.
I think the fact that like not liking how Kira was treating Michael John and like kind of was being pretty unkind to him. So I totally get like not wanting him like, not wanting her to outlast him. But I kind of am worried that he will mess up Netta's game. Netta said it like 2 or 3 times this episode, like, "Oh, I don't know, Michael John, like, he might mess up Michael John might come for me." And I'm like, why is she saying this so many times? Is he going to end up messing up her game as well? And
I don't
so,
I honestly, truly, and I mean, maybe it's like blinders for Netta a little bit, but I do really believe that she would be able to get out of that. Like, I feel like she's already got a decent mist on him because even when he sees to them, like, I think she treats him very kindly. I think she talks to him about strategy and she treats him as an equal. And I think that he respects her in that way. So I feel like even at the end of the game, if he got out, I don't think that Michael John would throw Netta under the bus, but I do think he would come for Kara.
Dreadful also says, yes, he's made silly decisions. Her anger, though, is way worse gameplay, in my opinion, and just not very likable. I totally agree. I just don't want him to mess up Netta's game and her
Yeah.
position.
I don't
It's
think he would. I
not
really don't.
intentionally, but he's
I think
not good at the game. He
we
makes decisions that they have to like. It's kind of like going behind him and like cleaning up the mess that he keeps on
Yeah.
making. This like bull in a china shop. You're just like, ah,
Team
ah,
Fun Kids.
like it's like so much.
Mess it up, Michael John. Mess it up.
Dreadful Ruby says that's true. I'm 100% rooting for Netta. I wasn't a big fan of hers on BB. I'm enjoying her on this a lot. Maybe Big Brother 5. I understand a lot of people weren't a fan of her Big Brother 5, but Big Brother 2, like I was hardcore for Netta big time. So
Yeah.
if you haven't watched that season, I would watch that season and then you could fall in love with Netta.
One of the even on the rewatches, because I watched all like from 1 through 9, 1 through 8 on a rewatch. even with all the rewatches, season 2 is one of the best seasons of Big Brother Canada. Like, it still
Definitely.
holds up as one of the best. But anyway,
Definitely.
different show.
And like
Different show.
also with season 5 with Netta,
Mhm.
Canada gave her that safety until jury, which just sucked.
It was kind of like a
Like,
death march, really.
yeah, it just messed up her whole game. She wasn't in danger, so she wasn't able to protect herself, insulate herself, make deals, make it alliances. She just got to coast, and then she wasn't in a good position when all of a sudden she was available to be nominated,
Yeah.
and she also wasn't making friends. And so,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah. It was
different
brutal.
show. All right, we're at breakfast. And like you said, Kira is going to be a messy bitch this morning.
I
And
loved it.
she's going to say my John's name. She's just going to start putting his name out there. Netta, of course, is worried about Kira. When they're all talking, though, Melinda still thinks that it's Cedric. And I think it's just hilarious that Cedric is still part of the conversation.
Cedric's gonna win the game at this point. Like, I'm still like, I don't know what's happening, but he's
You
making
have
it to
to
finale.
be able to guess the traitors, though, still to know when to stop. So
True.
at this point, he might be the last faithful standing, but I don't know if he could win the game.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I don't know. But
Good point.
I feel like he might get it to the end as well,
Yeah.
because these people
He's
don't know
just,
what's going
yeah.
on.
Well, listen, Donna almost went home night 1 on my season. Like, it was between Donna and Colin. And I mean, like they had asked me in confessional at one point, like, what are you going to do with Donna? And I was like, I'm going to throw her under the bus. Like, and Donna was a good friend of mine, still is. But I can remember saying that and then being really, really grateful that I didn't throw her under the bus, because she ended up being like a really good relationship for me on the second and third day. But like, she almost went home night 1, and she was one of the last banished at the fire in our season. So like, I feel like Cedric is on that path.
What is Donna, a psychic or a medium? I don't remember.
Medium, I believe.
Medium. Okay.
Yeah, she's a little bit of both, to be honest. I've
Yeah,
had a
usually
reading
you
with
are.
her,
Oh,
and
you did.
I did, yeah, like February or March, I believe. I don't remember. It was in the winter, and it was weird how accurate she was, especially because we always laugh because, you know, psychics on the show
Yeah.
don't tend to do well. And you know, she was the best psychic in the history of Traitors to like make it furthest in the game. But yeah, they don't do well when it comes to like the predictions on the show. But for like an actual reading, and it was like on video, spooky good. Surprising.
Because I'm looking for a mentor to hone my mediumship skills. So
I would definitely reach out, and
yeah.
she's very open. She's really easy to talk to, and like shoot advice to, and like she's just a really good person. So I would definitely reach out to her, because I guarantee you she'd help you.
If she has some advice, or if she has somebody else to suggest, or if she has maybe it's in her path now to start ushering people into mediumship. I don't know. But anyways,
Yeah.
I will reach out to her, because that's been something that's been coming up that I think I need to focus on. But anyways, at breakfast, we know Lori thinks that at least 2 traitors are in the Saints group. And I'm like, like, Lori, you are on the money. And it's unfortunate that she doesn't have enough social capital to be able to get people on her side so she could kind of push through her agenda. There's just other loud voices. What can Lori do to get people to believe with her strategy and theories?
I'm nervous for Lori. I don't know what way she goes at this point, because I feel like if she gets enough capital, she's just going to get murdered. Like, we're getting close to
Will
Lori
Netta let her
murder.
get murdered, though? Because I think Netta still has a strong connection with her.
She's still strong with Lori. That's perfect, actually, because if she can stay strong with Lori, and Lori knows Netta's a traitor, that could be Lori's win. If she pretends not to know, we'll say, because
I don't think she knows at this point, but maybe.
Like, she could, you know what I mean? Like, if she finds out, or she starts to like guess, that could be the faithful win. But I don't know what she'd really have to do. I mean, I guess stick with Netta and try to branch out with who Netta wants her to branch out with, but like make a solid relationship with those people, not just be like Netta's friend. Be like, okay, like, yeah, like, what direction does Netta want me to go in? But then really go in that direction for herself. If she does something like that, she could probably get through.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think what needs to happen, I'm just kind of reiterating what you're saying. So in the season 2 of the Traitors USA, you know, Peter obviously was a pain in the Traitors' butt. You know, he was the ultimate traitor hunter, the faithful of the faithfuls. But what he had was a voting block. He had a group of people that he could count on to vote together with him, an alliance. And so they were able to hunt a traitor because they had the numbers. And so I think that's what she needs to do, or even suggest to people, be like, hey, we need to just come together and vote this way, and let's just go through these people. It's not us, so let's go through those people and see what happens. But yeah, she just needs to get a voting block together, I think, and then go with what her strategy is. And if she goes with her strategy with people that are not in her group, obviously, that were in the Saints group, she will hit eventually. I don't think she'll have all 3 of them in her group,
but she'll hit, like, even like you said, they may hit one and just be like, okay, this is
That's
it.
enough.
We were right. We got one. Or maybe they'll keep going. Like, it's hard to say, but, like, you know, she'll at least get one.
I remember in season 2 of the USA, I was so frustrated because they had all the information to know about the similar thing, the Shield discussion, where they targeted. Remember, Dan really wanted to target, I can't remember who it was right now, Bergie, whatever, thinking that he didn't have the shield, I think, or something. I can't remember who had the shield or whatnot. And he went for that, and it actually ruined his game. And he should have continued just taking the people out of, I can't remember which way it was. They just aimed at the wrong people, and I thought it blew their cover, but the faithful still didn't catch on real quick. And I was like, it's obvious, guys, but I know I'm not in the game. I'm watching on my couch. I'm watching on the couch, but
that's the fun. That's where we can, like, you know, call everybody an idiot. I'm really enjoying watching this season from my couch, so I can be like, that is so stupid. Like, I'm watching Michael John. I'm like, oh my God, worst traitor ever. I was out episode freaking 3. Are you joking? Like, he's doing way better than I did. But it's really fun to be a couch hero. And, like, that's the fun in these shows. Is like, what is it, like Jeff says for Survivor? Like, oh, you think you can play, then apply. It's really fun to do that from the couch, to be like, I would do way better than that, because the chances of you actually applying from the couch and getting it are slim. So you can talk a big talk. You could say you would do better. You can have fun and, like, live the scenarios in your brain, but you don't actually have to prove anybody wrong. You know what I mean?
I know. That's one of the reasons why I want to do one of these shows, just to put my money where my mouth is. I want to see how well I would do in these actual circumstances.
It doesn't always pan out the way you expect it to.
I totally get that and hear that. I definitely, especially, you know, watching Survivor with having a couple friends on it, knowing, like, it doesn't always pan out how you think it's going to pan out, you know?
Yeah, it's rough. It can be brutal.
So when Michael John comes into the breakfast room, he's like, "What a great day to be alive!" I'm just like, how can anybody believe him? I'm sorry, Michael John. I'm just gonna have to come for you a little bit here.
Yeah,
it's overacting to the extreme. And is it working? Is it working? Is the fact that he is actually overacting so much that he is fooling all the faithfuls?
So there is this likable quality. It's so funny because he's like this big burly dude, right? Like, he looks like you know, like a biker dude. Like, you know, he's got this look about him that looks so rough and so, like, hard. And I really think that, like, then you talk to him and you're like, you're just a puppy, like, in the best way, you know, like, he's very, you can tell that he is lovable and kind. And I do think he gets confused about a lot of it. I think it's, like, sometimes an act, but then also, like, he gets things a little backwards, which I think is helping him seem really authentic. And I think that the arrow or the target or whatever it is that was on him is starting to shift a little. Like, I think Kara is there to make sure that it stays in line. But if she starts getting really emotional, I can see people being like, I know Michael John's a faithful. He's just a Cedric faithful. Like, he's just a bad faithful. He's loud. He's a distraction. He's confused. He doesn't understand the game, whatever. And then start looking more at Kara as opposed to Michael John. Like, I can really see something like that going down, because Michael John is overacting and he's so bad at it, but
But he's
it's also
also
like his
overacting
personality.
in his confessionals. And I'm like, he's just
Mhm.
like, yeah, no, no, I'm gonna do this. I'm coming for you. And I'm like, wait, what happened? Like,
It's wrestler energy, right? Like he's a wrestler, and it's like tomorrow night at the throwdown or whatever it is. Like I'm
I'll
coming
see
for
you
you,
there.
and I'm
Yeah,
gonna
in the
make
court.
you eat the chair. I don't know. I don't watch wrestling, but like it's it's got that energy, and I'm really whatever it is about this episode. I was like, this spark came out of Michael John, and I'm really enjoying his messiness and his over the top ridiculous things he's saying, and like he's fun to watch.
So Melinda is the one that says that she thinks that right now might be the time where they try to squeeze out another traitor. And
Mhm,
so I was like, this is interesting. Go like follow that, Melinda. Like that's a
mhm.
good thought, especially since you see Kira basically like she was so like, oh, like shoot, they might catch on to the fact that like all of a sudden she pipes up and like or
Mhm.
perks up and she's now like all guns blazing towards Michael John.
He went
It's
like this too.
so obvious that like she's pissed and she's just coming for another traitor.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm not there, so I can't tell how it feels to them, but just watching everything about her energy has changed.
Literally. Like that's what I was thinking. I'm sat watching her at breakfast and she's gunning so hard for Michael John, but it's written on her face. Sh it's like she wants to murder him in real life. Like there is hate on her face for Michael John, and like there has to be a reason. That's not just $5,000. Like if I'm there and she's Kara and she's bubbly and she's super faithful and definitely this, and then one day she just comes in and the energy, like you understand, we feel energy, right? Energy is very much something that you can feel. If you come in and this energy has shifted that much, it's got to start the wheels turning. Like, wow,
I would think
you know?
so. I think I would think so.
I know.
Anyways. So Gail is the only one that doesn't enter the breakfast room. So Gail, they never say Gail is murdered, but that's
Mhm.
just what is assumed because she never enters.
I forgot that they were doing the cage thing. I'm not
Mhm.
joking. Like she didn't come into breakfast. I was like, oh, they murdered Gail. And then when they got to the cage, I went, oh yeah. Like,
Well,
so it
they
worked.
never said murdered. So then I was thinking, like, oh, Gail's in the cage. But I was always thinking, though, up until that point, that until Mike came
Or
into
did
the
Mike.
breakfast room, that it was going to
Mhm,
be Mike that they decided on, or Michael John decided on.
mhm.
But it's Gail because we know that Michael John doesn't want him to be pushed out and Gail to be pulled in. So Gail would be a double person for him to want to murder this evening.
Yeah.
So Michael John, though, says that he wants to use Kira's anger against her. And I'm
Mhm.
like,
Steaming.
Kira, as much as you think that he is not a smart player and that you can
Mhm.
outsmart him, his messiness and his brazenness and willing to just say whatever, he might be able to get out of it being like, I don't know, she was just attacking me and I just retaliated. And then look, she
Mhm.
was a traitor. Like,
She's he's overplaying in like a sense of, bad acting or whatever. She's overplaying, like I think we talked about this maybe 2 episodes ago. She's getting cocky. She's getting comfortable. She's really happy with her role as a trader. She feels like nobody's going to suss her out. Everybody
you think she's gonna
believes her.
win the
And
game?
yeah, and she's forgetting. Like I got a little cocky in my very brief period. And I remember because it was when Leroy had told me that he was voting for me when I was like, "Oh, wait, hold on. People that I think are like in my group, like this alliance that I think I have could
Mhm.
actually be talking about me behind my back." It was like you do get comfortable with certain people to the point that you don't really you forget that you're on the show where everybody's supposed to accuse everybody else. And I think that's where Kara is. She's in a state of nobody will ever suspect me. I have this place on lockdown. And it's going to be her downfall. And it's starting to spiral.
Yep, I'm getting a little bit worried for her. So after breakfast, we see Lauren and Kevin talking to each other. We briefly alluded to this conversation. Lauren thinks Kevin is a traitor, but she trusts him, and they
I
just
love
work
that she
together.
legitimately is like, I think you're a traitor. Like to his face, I think you're a traitor, but I don't want to get you out. Like I think you're a traitor. I think Melinda is turning on you. but I want you to recruit me.
I love
but
that she even puts out like, "I want you to recruit
like,
me."
come get me, basically, which I loved. But
That's
then
kind of
she
like
says
what
to us,
Janelle was doing in season 2. She'd just be like, "But recruit me if you are a traitor. Recruit me."
I want to be a traitor. I want to be a traitor. Yeah. But like, so I love that she did that. But then she says to us, I would rip up the envelope. And I'm like, you're saying that to the wrong person. Like, you say that to other people you think are faithful. Because if you really mean that you would rip up the envelope, especially when you know Kevin's the like, what?
But
That
the
makes no
ripping of
sense.
the envelope, though, I mean, I guess there's if it's an ultimatum, then you die anyways.
Yeah, it's only
But
ultimatum.
right,
Recruitment
okay.
you can
I
turn
guess you
down.
could, right, because yeah, Peter rips it up, right?
Yeah.
Because
But
he's the
it's such a
faithful of the faithful.
stupid move.
No.
Like, it's the worst move.
The easiest way to win is as a traitor because you have the most amount of information. But it's the most challenging role to play because you have to become undetected. But
Yeah.
late game traitor is even easier because you can see, okay, all the heat that the other traders have on them, and you could just like nudge things in
Go where
certain
you wanna go.
directions.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Anyways,
It's hard to be a late game trader if you were recruited purposely because there's already
more,
all kinds of heat on you. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, that's when, like, Mickey in our season, he was literally like just set up to be knocked down.
Oh, poor
So,
Mickey.
that's a hard position, especially God love Mickey. He's like, if a cockroach was in that thing, he'd probably capture it and like set it free. Like, he's a gentle, gentle soul. But like, if you were recruited late game and nobody thinks that you're a traitor or you're very low on the suspect list, like, you are winning. Like, take
Yes.
it and run.
Yes. Or like maybe she's saying that. No, no, well, that doesn't make sense. I was gonna be like, maybe she's saying that because, but that was in her confessional, right? It wasn't in front of
It
him.
was a confessional. Yeah, she
Okay,
said
good,
to
good.
him, recruit me. Like,
Yeah.
she's like, I think you're a traitor and like you should recruit me and whatever. But then she says to us, like, oh, if I got recruited, I'd rip up the letter. And I'm thinking, no, like you're half right with your gameplay. You're 50%. But no, that bottom part, like, that's dragging you down.
Well, Kevin also thinks that she's a traitor, but
Funny.
wants to keep her close. And they're both kind of, well, Lauren thinks that Melinda is the puppet master, is the one that's mastering everything that's going on. And it's just very interesting how wrong everybody is this whole time. And that's kind of like what I want to know from each person is you guys are so sure about things that were so wrong. Like, how are you so sure? That is
Yeah.
my question. Like, so
I
sure.
think it's a mixture of like personality clashes and confirmation bias. Not even clashes. Like I think it's a mixture of like, because you notice that when people, I mean, aside from Lauren and Kevin, they're obviously working well together. They think each other's a traitor. That could just be like a confirmation bias, paranoia, wishful thinking kind of situation. But everybody else, when they go for people who are traitors, it seems that they're going for the people who like they didn't click with immediately, and then like they keep an eye on them, and then like once you're looking at someone, everything that they do looks suspicious.
Of
So
course.
I think it's a combination of having your people that you click with, and then kind of going at the other side, but then the confirmation bias of the other side, you know what I mean?
I guess, yeah, I do understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I guess I just wonder why the other side of it all. It's like, why don't they reinvestigate other theories that they've had, right?
Hmm.
Like, why have we disregarded Mike's theory about Michael John? Gail's theory about Michael John,
Hmm.
Pac-Man's theory about Michael John. Like, these are all people that have talked about, like, he's been a little bit suspicious, but because they feel as though he's a faithful, they can't even entertain that. But
Yeah.
because they think that Cedric is or Melinda is a traitor, like everything that she does means that she's a traitor. It's just so wild that logic kind of goes out the window, but they think that they're using their logical mind, you know?
Yeah. It's also funny too because like it's so fast paced. It's so fast that like the couple of breaks that you do get to have when you're by yourself or whatever, like you're allowed to write things down. You can have a notebook and like write your little notes and whatever, but so much goes on in those short periods of time. and you're trying to remember it all and you're trying to write it all down, and then you're trying to like review your notes when you're brainstorming or whatever, I think a lot of it just gets forgotten because it's so quick. Like these are, we see this show weekly, but this is happening daily. So every single day, two people are going home. One's getting murdered, one's getting banished. And you only have like a couple of reality times during the day to figure it out, because if the cameras aren't rolling, you're not allowed to speak about what's happening. So if you're all like, you have breakfast in the morning and then you go do the mission. After the mission, you might have a chat about like why somebody got murdered or whatever. But then they're like, okay, guys, like we're going to get you your lunch now. No talking about the game. So everybody has to literally put it on pause and be like, so how is the wife and kids back home? Like, it's really difficult because in your mind, you're still spiraling, trying to figure things out, but you also have to like shut it off and go right back into human mode, we'll say. And then the game starts back up again when the cameras are rolling. You have to kind of like go back to your strategy. So it's really easy to forget things. So I think that's a lot of it too. It creates or adds to the confusion of the game because it's so fast paced, you know?
Well, Trana now has tons of evidence for Cedric. She wants Cedric gone. And I'm like, wasn't he exonerated like 4 episodes ago? I feel like him being a traitor is out the window at this point. But I don't know if it was here or later on in the episode that comes, we loop back around to that knowing look wasn't actually Kirkland's knowing look. It was Cedric's knowing look that he got out somebody. And I'm like,
yeah.
Get off
That
this
killed
look.
me. That killed me. But look, it wasn't mission accomplished for Kirkland. It was mission accomplished for Cedric. I'm like, but wasn't you were saying Kirkland was the one who was looking at Cedric? Like, it's just so fun. But like again, her memory could be skewed now. She could be like, oh, I remember Cedric nodded at Kirkland, even though she had said it was the other way around. And like it's just everything gets warped. It's like a giant game of telephone that lasts 2 weeks where nobody really knows the right answer, you know?
So what was interesting in the next little segment is we see Kira talking with her brother Nick, and this is the first time we've really seen them interact. And he says he doesn't know if she's a traitor or not, but like, of course, he's willing to help her however he can.
I have to put it out there because I was watching it and I went, I knew it. Remember, like we've been talking, and I'm like, Nick knew she was a traitor immediately because they're not talking about, like, they're not bringing it up a lot. We don't see two of them talking privately. There's no way that this is the first time that they have like exchanged a look or something. And when he was talking to her, he's like, I don't know if you're a traitor or not. I mean, we did have that look, and he did that to her. Like, he's like, we did have that look, and she didn't really say anything. I really, really do think that she can't keep it from him. I think he knows she's a traitor. He doesn't care. She even says in confessional, Nick wants me to win the game. They are in it together regardless. She's going to do everything in her power to make sure he stays to finale. And he is going to do everything in his power to protect her. And I just
we do learn though that he is really good friends with Michael John. And so he's actually a little bit hesitant with the fact that he is the person that Kira wants to go for. And so that's the only reason why it makes me think that he does not think that she is a traitor, right? Because if he thought that she was a traitor, or knew anyways, and she says, we have to take out Michael John, he'd be like, okay, so he must be another traitor here, and she's trying to cut out another, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't want to try to protect him at that point, even though we're friends. And so that's the only reason why I'm thinking that maybe he doesn't actually know officially.
I think he does, but he's also got to be careful with his wording for the cameras and for other people. You know what I mean? Like even in confessional, I think that he can't really say to us that he knows for sure. I think he has to still have the level of maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I don't know, even though she's my sister, but I do think he has her clocked. I think in his brain he's sure, but he's probably not allowed to say he's sure. Or maybe he said it and it doesn't get aired. You know what I mean?
Do you think he'd be allowed to say it in his confessional? Be like, oh, I know my sister is a traitor. I know she's a traitor.
I mean,
like,
probably.
I would think, like, what's the point of having the brother sibling twist?
Yeah.
If
I don't know. I just feel like he knows.
He might have an inkling,
yeah,
or like suspect, but I'm just like, I feel as though he would be a little bit more willing to give up Michael John if he knew 100% that she was a traitor. But maybe he's just playing us even more. Bloody Bunny says, Chantele, how far can Gail go? Let's say top 10 at best. You know, Gail, she's not going to get murdered, I don't think, until Michael John is gone, I think. If Michael John leaves, I would not be surprised if Netta and Kira recruited her. Especially if they wanted to, it'd be kind of dirty, but she's been pretty gung-ho about Michael John being a traitor. All hence the reason why she's being murdered by Michael John. And if they get out Michael John and she was correct with pointing that finger, they recruit her, then she could also be somebody easy to push out again, right?
Do you think, or do you think that would solidify her as a faithful for getting out a traitor?
It could, but I'm saying that Netta and Kira can just push her and being like, traitor on traitor crime here, and then just like, you know, push her in front of the bus.
Yeah, that's true too. I feel like Netta's going to do that with Kira.
I mean, she's just like biding her time here. She's just like, So I think Gail's very smart in this game. She has not all the traitors, you know, correct, but very sure about Michael John, and it's the right, obviously, assessment here. I think that I feel like she might be able to get some legs on the Michael John train. Top 7, I think she could get to the finale.
I think so too. I can
finale's
see
what, 5 people, right? Usually.
Yeah, I think it's 5-ish. Yeah, so I could say finale or second last episode. I could see her getting pretty far.
Yeah, I see her. I don't see her leaving anytime soon because I haven't heard anybody say her name for someone to be banished, and I don't know if they're going to try to murder her again.
It's tricky. It's tricky. Like she's most likely to get recruited.
I can see that. So Blade Money says, do I think that Michael John got greedy by taking the 5K out of the prize pool for the shield? I don't think he got greedy because he didn't get to keep the money, right?
No, it's not for him. It was
just for the shield.
Yeah, it removed it from the pot. It was actually less money that he's able to make if he wins. Right.
So I'd say no, and especially since he got nothing out of it in the end. They really still had a really wide range of people that they could choose from, and actually taking the shield kind of lessened the pool because of the fact that they shouldn't have chosen anybody from the group that had the offer. And so I just think that he didn't fully understand the ramifications of taking the 5K. I don't think he thought it through.
He's like you said, he's a bull in a china shop, right? He's just going around and
doing his best, but not
clumsy. Yeah, he's clumsy. He's trying, but he's clumsy.
So we get to the challenge and we see Gail. I'm alive. She is in a cage. It's raining. I'm like, oh gosh, they just didn't want to change the shooting schedule for this, but that sucks. We see Corinne out there with her umbrella. They didn't give an umbrella to poor Gail, so she's like this, like
she got soaked.
So wet. So
I'm gonna unplug my camera and plug that back in again while you just recap.
Oh, was it flickering? I didn't even notice.
I'm freezing on my side, so just give me one.
Oh, I haven't noticed it though, so if that makes me feel better.
All right, give me one quick second. I'll pop out.
Bloody Money wants to know, are we excited for Traitors US 3? Yes, I'm definitely excited for that season. When it was originally announced, the cast, I did a quick cast assessment with Fanta, who you guys might know from my challenge coverage. But maybe if you guys are interested, I could do another cast assessment with Mel B, and we can look at the cast again now that it's been confirmed. We have an air date, which I believe is January 9th, 2025. And so if you want Mel B and myself to cover it, and if you want us to do another cast assessment, let us know.
Sorry.
All good. Are you into that?
Yes. Oh my God. Like, sign me up immediately. I am so excited. It's coming up January. Is that right? Yeah. So I am very excited for US season 3. Like, there's some heavy hitters And let's get the exit interviews for that one too. Like, let's,
Oh, okay.
cool. Let's figure it out.
Yeah, you know what? Let me. I'll put that in right now. Like,
Daniel Reyes is on this season. Like,
I know Boston. Oh, you don't watch Survivor, but Boston
oh,
Rob,
I know Boston Rob from what is it, Deal or No
Deal
Deal?
Dondi, yeah,
Yeah,
Deal or No
I loved
Deal.
it. Yeah.
Well, Boston Rob, just a quick history of me. I had a crush on him when he was on his first season of Survivor, which was season 4, Marquesas.
Mhm.
And I just like, he was just this like young Boston kid. And he was so good he was so smart. And
Yeah.
he really made me understand strategy of these kind of games and
Okay.
made me really like the strategy. Because before I was like, I think that it's kind of mean and bullying having alliances and stuff like that. Like, I kind of wanted it to be fair. And he
Yeah.
was like, no, it's not supposed to be fair. You're supposed to try to get yourself the win. I'm like, wait, yeah. And
You're
so I
right.
started to have a strategic mind for the game, and it was all for because of Boston Rob. So I definitely have been I've grown up with Boston Rob. We're about the same age. He's a little bit older than me. And
Mhm.
so just love to see him play. I love seeing him play everything.
So we definitely need to do that then.
We will then. I know everybody's more excited to see Carolyn. Well, she doesn't know who Carolyn is, so maybe she
No
watch her
idea.
season of Survivor. She's a
I'm
great
watching
character.
because I'm enjoying this. I'm watching this season
Good season.
now. And
You'll
I'm
like
happy.
Carolyn because she's a character.
Oh,
She's
I love
definitely
characters.
a character. Okay, I'll tell you which season to watch then, so you can
Okay, yeah.
at least catch up on the people that are
Well,
on
I
this
have
chat.
Paramount Plus, like specifically so I can watch old Survivors now. So you just let me know and I will go through it. Like,
She's, I think, 44.
yeah, I'm on it.
Season 44, unless I'm mistaken. All right, so basically they need to run around in the rain. They have to solve different riddles so they can get a key. There's 6 keys, one of which can unlock Gail from the cage, meaning that she would not be murdered and she would still be in the game. And so it's kind of in the best interest of Kira and Netta to have
Absolutely.
Gail come out. And
Yep.
obviously, Michael does not want this to happen. So I just think it's
Mhm.
just very funny that this was so obvious that they were letting him fail here, but
Mhm.
he didn't even see that coming at all. Like, even
He's
when
a
she's like,
puppy
well, let you do whatever you want, go whatever. I think it's a bad move. I do the exact opposite of that. And he still did it. Like,
as wild.
I'm like Michael John, just be like, okay, you know what? You guys are just a lot better at the strategic part of this game than I am. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Like, I want to get up to this level. I don't want to disappoint you. I want us to work together. Can you just like help me understand what would be a better move for all of us? And
Yeah.
just like allow them to talk you through what could be a better move and make a better move. But this one could very easily
You know
put
what
Michael
it
John in hot
is?
water.
I think what it is that I like about him, he's got toddler energy. You know, he's got toddler energy. He's got like, I know what's best. I'm a grown up. I'm a big boy. I can do these things. Like, and he doesn't want to listen to his moms anymore. He doesn't want to, like, he just wants to do his own thing. And they're like, you know what? Make your own mistakes. That's fine. You don't have to wear a jacket in the snow today. See how you feel about it. Like, it's giving
When
that.
he comes, he's like
And
shivering, like,
yes, this was a good decision. That's what it is, but it's really fun to watch. But I think that's the problem. But it's also why I say I think he would be easy to manipulate. So I do think they're playing it wrong unless they're gonna, I mean, Kara wants to throw him under the bus anyway. But, I do think that the potential is there to drag him a little bit further for them and then throw him out after, like,
now I'm thinking, I don't think we said this yet, that the reason why Netta allowed this to go this way is that she's letting Kira also dig her own grave a little bit. And
absolutely.
so, you know what? You're like, you know what? This is what you both want. I will give you what you both want. You guys
Hmm.
can both get messy and you guys can both get banished. That
Yep.
is fine with me. And
Because
so, mhm.
it's eyes off of Netta, regardless. Like, she's in every confessional saying, "This is so fun. That's so messy," because she knows it is fun to watch a mess, and every little bit of mess that's going on in that manner keeps eyes off of her. So she's like, I don't want to say she's coasting, but she is certainly like, she's in a good position, and I love
So
to see it.
This is about Carolyn. So Carolyn has zero control over her facial reactions. Absolutely. Like, I think you will be amused, entertained, fall in love with Carolyn. She's
Yeah,
great.
I'm here for it. I'm gonna keep my eyes out for Carolyn. 44, maybe.
44. But you know what? On the first episode, she has the first confessional. She opens up the season.
Okay,
So if I remember correctly. So
I'm here for it.
you will get to know Carolyn very quickly. So they're basically solving riddles of the La Belle Province, which is Quebec. Four people are going to go into a library that has all the different hidden riddles inside the book. They have phones to call each other. There's a group out, different groups outside that are going to use their phone to show the clues that they received to go try to find their answer in a book, which is like another riddle, and they have to solve the riddle to make a word and then tell the other word to the other people to solve the riddle.
It was pretty, it was
Convoluted.
fun. I did like it. I like a riddle challenge anyway. I mean, but this is basically just like a different version of the church ones,
Yeah.
like we've seen them before. They're fun.
Yeah, I mean,
It
I
was fun.
definitely like this. It wasn't that easy to follow, like,
No.
because like I love playing along, and so I
Yeah.
was like, I'm trying to read it. I'm like, who? Wait, which one? Who said what? Okay, so team two is Mike, and okay, Marie Joseph Corriveau, and I did like that Mike was like she knew
I
that
did
she
a
knew
podcast.
witchcraft and did a podcast about it. I was like, that's cool. That's real
Very
cool.
cool. Yeah, I
um,
also really like that.
I don't know. I wrote down the haunting of our memories, convicted of witchcraft. But anyways, I just was like, I didn't know what I was writing things down for, so it was hard
Mhm.
for me to follow. But if I was playing, I would have probably loved it. I would have been like really getting
Absolutely.
into it
Yeah,
and like solving it.
it wasn't an easy to play along with one. Like at least the ones in the church, when they would have to find the riddle, they would read the riddle. And
Yes,
if you hear the riddle, that's where you can play along. You can be like,
yes.
oh, a bumblebee or whatever. So it was a little bit trickier to be able to do that because yeah, like it was hard to follow and they were saying certain things, but we didn't really know like all of the riddle and what page
But
and
you're like, oh, like
yeah.
they're like the letters and numbers are underlined and like page 190 and they're going to 190. The only one I think that I wrote down was leaves, Eve, and Rome all did it. I'm like, okay, well, I get that. But they said follow right away, and I didn't even have a chance to think what it
Exactly.
said. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense that I would have probably gotten in 2 more seconds, but like I
Yeah.
didn't even fully hear the question, and then they're already sending fall to the other people.
Yeah. It was
So
all over.
they were letting Gail pick the key.
Mhm.
Now, I think this was
That was
great.
Netta's suggestion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, why do you think that Netta did this, and do you think it was a successful way to play this?
I think it's a good idea, but again, if we're trying to avoid
Her going
any
home.
kind of thought process
Oh,
about maybe you're a traitor, it's probably not a great move that Netta says let Gail pick the key. Because let Gail pick the key is just as good as let anybody pick the key. If you're not going to make sure it's going to get picked yourself, I don't really know. I don't really know if that because like what if that comes back on Netta and they're like, yeah, you were a traitor because you wanted her to pick the key instead of like
so that
to
would
try
be
and
that.
make sure that like we weren't going to get it.
Oh,
Like
but I mean, maybe.
it's really random. Anyway, you're just guessing.
Well, I guess maybe she would step in if Gail didn't pick the right key or something like that. I don't know. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
I mean, I think it does work for Netta being like if Gail picks, then they won't be like, "Oh, let's aim our finger at everybody who
Pick
guessed
the
or
key.
had the key or picked the key." And so
Mhm.
it does kind of absolve people a little bit, and so
Mhm.
maybe that's why she made Gail pick the key and just kind of hoped that she'd pick the right one, I guess.
Yeah. Who got the right one? Was it Kara?
So it doesn't really matter the rest of the other riddle that was there was if she's black, she's black and her bite is deadly, and I guess it was the Black Widow's spider, and so the widow was the word that worked so they can get the
I
key.
love that they said spider first. I was like, come on, you're gonna try spider first over wit. Like, I just thought widow made more sense in that rhyme or whatever it was. I was like, "You're spider?"
Well, the black, like Black Spider or Black Widow.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like Widow just I don't know, I thought Widow was more creepy, and it was like,
And it was
you
more
know
traitor-esque, absolutely.
exactly, yeah, like that just felt right.
Yes, more likely 100%. So another word was fear that they needed to figure out. I don't know what the riddle was, but at the end of the time out, they found 3 out of the 6 keys, which would equal $4,500. And the people that had the keys were Kira, Lori, and Kevin. Kira's key was wrong. Lori's key was wrong. It was Kevin that had the
Mm.
correct key, and Gail is saved.
Yay!
Ah.
I was a bit
So
worried at first, like, when Kevin went over, I was like, "Oh my god, is it not gonna open?" So, I was happy to see it actually work.
yeah, I mean that would have been really kind of bad if like they had to be like, "Oh, bye, Gail." She's just
Like,
like in
that's
the
what I was
cage.
thinking, I was like, "Can you imagine being like" but I did notice that, like, Gail, when they first started, she's like, "Come over, let me give you all of my thoughts." You know what I mean? And she was like, it's who'd she say? Like, Michael John, did she say Cedric as well?
I don't think she said
Mike
Cedric.
I could be mistaken. She named off, like, 3 people and was like, "This is who I'm suspect of because I'm up here."
Mhm.
And I thought that was smart of her because she's like, "Hey, I may not actually survive this. So if I don't, like, look in
These
this
are the people.
direction."
Look at these people. Look at these people.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because she probably knows that these are the people that she's suspect of, and this is probably why she's being
yeah,
murdered. So,
yeah.
Michael John now has to pretend to be happy.
I love him. I know we're not there yet, but the table crying later, oh, he's just so much fun. Yeah, he's not thrilled. He is not thrilled about Gail being safe.
So now, oh yes, the Dreadful Ruby is correct. Yes,
Yeah,
thinking that Aaron, yes, Aaron, she definitely is suspicious of, and
yeah,
Melinda,
and
I don't
Melinda.
remember Melinda 100%, but I wouldn't be surprised. But
Yeah.
I do remember Aaron.
Well, that could also be some of the like the fuel or whatever for the fire that got Melinda out. Was that Gail was like, "Hey, listen, like these are my
That's
3."
true. They didn't really focus on it, but yeah, that could have been
Mhm.
helpful. So there is a theory that's kind of trickling around that maybe Gail is a traitor for the fact that she picked the correct key.
Michael John put that out there though, didn't he?
Did
I thought I
he?
saw Michael John be like, "Well, what if she put herself up or something?" Like I thought it came from Michael John because I thought that was funny
I
because I
thought it
was
was Kevin, but I didn't write down who it was because I thought I would remember. And then I always think I'll remember these things, and
I
I
know.
don't. It's so annoying.
Yeah, that's my life.
um,
Just every day.
I thought it was Kevin, but it could be Michael John. Um, Gail, though, does say that she thinks that Michael John for sure is a traitor. He looked the most sus when she saw their faces. Like she's like Michael John for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Facts.
I think it's wild that we're at episode like, we're going into episode 7. They still haven't caught a traitor, and you know what it feels like? It feels like US 2 when everybody knew that, like, Dan was a traitor, but he just kept making it even though they were talking about, like and it was like everybody knew and they just kept saying he was and he is and he definitely is, but then somebody else would go home. That's what it feels like this season. It's like everybody knows, it seems like everybody knows Michael John's a traitor. They're always talking about it, and then he just doesn't go home at the end of the day.
Well, not Trana, because Trana thinks that the traitors are setting up Michael John. She knows 1000% it is Cedric. I'm like,
I love
Trana,
Hannah.
wrong and strong queen.
Yeah. She stands by it. I just adore her. She's so much fun to watch.
So everybody is talking. This is obviously after the challenge. They think it should be between. Well, like I've noticed that it's between Melinda, Michael John, and Cedric. Those are the 3 names that are kind of floating around. We do hear whispers of Aaron being
Mhm.
suspect of Netta, and I was like, Aaron, you keep your little mouth shut because if
Yeah.
Netta gets wind of that, you're out of here.
Yeah.
Um,
Like,
so
you gotta go.
I can see because like if Gail thinks that Aaron could be somebody, right?
Mhm.
I could see, and if she gets wind of him saying her name, I could be like, let's get him out of here. So,
Mhm.
Aaron, be careful playing with fire.
Yeah. You don't know who you're up against.
we get to the round table, and Corinne is just calling out the faithfuls, saying, did I just pick perfect traitors or terrible faithfuls? She is not happy about the fact that they are not doing their job here.
Yep.
Yeah, bad faithfuls. She storms
She's
out of the room.
she's so much fun. She plays her character so well, doesn't she? Like
Yeah,
this,
I think she's doing a great job.
yeah, like this stoic, like, I invited you here for the game and you all suck at this game, basically. Like I don't know. She's so graceful. I really enjoy her character. Like it's really good. But I mean, they're bad faithfuls. They're really. I think we might be like moving toward a record. Like out of all the
I think we
country,
already hit it.
did we hit like the longest episodes without sending home a traitor?
I feel like 4 was the max before, but I don't 100%
Well,
remember.
what about like, and I mean, spoilers, we've been throwing out other season spoilers, but for Australia season 2, like how long did they go before they got their first?
Didn't they get in the second episode, right? And then they went for a stretch, I think.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Yeah, okay,
Remember?
so we're setting records 2
Because
years in a
remember,
row.
so spoiler, close your ears for a second if you don't want to hear. But remember, Sam didn't like the blonde woman Ash, and so like he kind of
Oh,
got her out really
yeah,
quickly.
so it might have been episode 3 or 4, yeah.
So it's definitely early
4.
on. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
like it definitely was in Australia too, and those faithfuls weren't very bright.
Yeah, they weren't faithfuling.
Not well.
Such
All right.
thing.
At the round table, though, we see Kevin calling out Melinda in a very polite, respectful way, I would say.
I feel like
Basically,
everybody
like,
was really nice about it. Like everybody was. It was one of those things where they all really thought that she was a traitor, but none of them wanted to see her go home. Like you could tell that.
and they didn't
she
want to
had
say
good
her
relationships.
name, I think,
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Like they felt bad. And so Kevin was calling her out. Lauren was also suspicious of Melinda. And giving her accolades, as she's saying that she thinks it's her. Tretta, of course, thinks that Melinda is just a distraction here. They do talk about the shooting at Kirkland and the fact that, Belinda felt. Did they say that she didn't have a reaction after? What did she say? Actually, I didn't write it all down.
I cannot remember.
You shot at Kirkland. I think Lauren was saying you shot at Kirkland and it was wrong.
Yeah, but I don't remember like I thought she said something about like how like they went so hard for Kirkland and they were wrong, but like they were devastated about it, or there was something along those lines of like it was something that they regretted. I thought
something like that for sure. Yeah. We see though Melinda and Trana, they're kind of crying because like it just doesn't look good for Melinda at this point.
Yeah.
And then Kira asks, go ahead.
I was gonna say they have such a moment. Like I was choked up. I was watching it and I was getting choked up. I was like, this is an emotional roundtable.
It was sweet.
Yeah.
So Kira asks Michael John about the offer, and I'm like, Kira, I know you want to get him out, but like also just allow this roundtable to go as it is and stop trying to push this agenda. It doesn't look good, but
I was wondering, so before she went in, and I wonder if this will come up in the future. I wonder why they left it in, because her and Nick are talking before the roundtable. And he's like, I will do whatever you want me to do, essentially.
Oh, and like they agreed on a nod if like
she said, if you see me, then we're voting for Michael John. And I'm thinking Kirkland got banished for doing like not even that bad. And Trana literally was like, you are a traitor. And now Cedric is still on the radar for that look. And you're talking about being at the table and outward like a full-on nod to your brother, who apparently you guys don't connect very much in the house. That's gonna seem traitor. So like if she went ahead and did something like that, my thought process was like, that's going to come around to bite her. So obviously she didn't do that because they didn't vote for Michael John, but is this something that might happen tomorrow or, the next night? And is that how she gets caught?
I have something to say about it, but I'll say it in a sec. So Lauren thinks that Melinda is the head here, and
Mhm.
this is how they're going to get their first traitor is taking out Melinda. Um, oh, this is what I wrote down. You shot it. It's basically Lauren saying like I let you have this shot at going for Kirkland, and so
Mhm.
like they wanted her to have this shot of going at Melinda.
Right.
And so the vote is in, and Netta votes for Melinda. Nick, Melinda. Aaron, Melinda. Lori, Melinda. Melinda votes for Cedric. Lauren, Melinda. Bachman, Melinda. Kira, Melinda. Trana, Michael John.
Mhm.
Mike, Melinda. Actually, this is really funny. That was like, okay, anyways, I'll say that. Another thing in a second. Cedric, Melinda, MJ, Melinda, Gail, Melinda, and Kevin, Melinda, meaning Melinda will be banished. She gets up to the front of the round table and she says, through tears, I've been a faithful from the beginning. And Trana ends it with, you're all a bunch of fucking idiots.
Oh my God, so good.
Out of here.
Heart on her sleeve this whole time, like beautiful.
Trana and Cedric nearly had a bit of a back and forth. Trana
Oh
tells
yeah.
Cedric to shut up. Cedric
Mhm.
was like, no, do not tell me to shut up. And so she did back down, and it seemed
Mhm.
like they resolved it. Like it didn't get fully explosive, but there was some friction right off the bat.
Yeah. The
Um,
faithfuls are frustrated, man. It's night after night of just being wrong and wrong and wrong, and then going to bed and afraid that you're not gonna get to breakfast. And, the show does get to you, but it is just wild. Like they're all coming for each other and they're so wrong.
so wrong. Well, Lauren is now going to take a back seat because she went all in on someone that she thought was 100% and she was wrong. We see Lori and Kira talking, and Kira is again saying like we should maybe revisit Michael John, like the whole $5,000 thing. And Lori seems to be like buying into this,
He's on
and
board.
so definitely I would say she would be on board. It would also go with her theory as like we should be targeting people that are in the Saints group, and
Mhm.
so it could be good for Kira to be locking in Lori here as a number that might vote in a block with her next round. So Kira is in her confessional is just like, wow, like I could just spell it out. I could say Michael John is a traitor, and I know this for a fact. And they'll be like, Cedric!
Literally, it's just wild. They just keep bouncing around.
uh, Michael John, of course, is pissed at Kira because Kira was coming for him in the round table, obviously beforehand. Oh, did you
Mhm.
notice earlier on when Kevin was gathering some of the votes for Melinda, and he says to Michael John, like, just vote for Melinda. I've been hearing your name around too. Michael John says, from who? And he says, I will tell you, but after
Tomorrow.
this vote, like
Yep,
tomorrow.
I did pick up on that.
I'm wondering if that will end up coming through, or if he will not actually maybe say anything for the fact that Melinda wasn't a traitor. Because
Yeah,
like I think he thought he
one
was going to get a traitor out here.
and then have, like, the extra information because that proved something else, or yeah. Because one of the things that I was wondering about was, like, when Kevin says this, "I'll tell you tomorrow," that to me, even though I'm watching it and I know, if I'm there and I'm Michael John, well, not Michael John because he is a traitor, but like say I'm there and I'm a faithful and Kevin says to me, I'll tell you tomorrow, then my thought process is, wait, what do you mean tomorrow? So like I might get banished tonight for one. The other thing is like, how do you know I'm going to be here tomorrow? And how do I know you're going to be here tomorrow?
Or
So
maybe
like,
he's saying like, I know that you're a traitor, Michael John. And so like,
well,
or
well no,
maybe
no,
if you are a traitor, then keep me in this game so you can find out tomorrow. Like, don't murder
my
me.
thought process was that, like, not that he was insinuating anything. I think he messed up by saying it that way, and he was lucky that he said it to Michael John. Because I feel like if he had said that to another traitor, they probably, or to another faithful, they probably would have
They'd be
thought
like,
that he was a
oh,
traitor.
right.
Like, why do you think you're going to be here tomorrow? Why do you know what I mean? How do you know I'm going to be here? Like, you must be a traitor. So,
But
like,
he could
yeah,
always say, I said that So just if anybody heard me, they would keep me around because I would be having some information for them. So
Yes, something like that. But yeah, that was my
right.
thought process. I was like, oh, he worded that wrong. Because maybe what it is that I'm always triggered now with like fixing my own mistakes. Because I'm watching it going like, oh, you shouldn't say that because they're gonna think you're a traitor. Because that was things that I used
I
to
mean,
do.
they might have said that, thought he was a traitor. Like absolutely.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could also see them being like, maybe even said, if I'm here tomorrow, and we didn't hear it properly,
yeah, yeah. But yeah,
like that's
I
probably
didn't
what
know.
he meant to say. If I'm here tomorrow, I'll tell you then,
I'll tell you
basically.
tomorrow. Yeah.
But it just didn't seem like they had a lot of time. So, but I hear your point. I hear your point. But
Mm-hmm.
this group of faithful, I don't even think
They
would
wouldn't
pick
know.
up
They
on
fucking
it.
water on a duck's back.
Uh, so Mike thinks that it's Michael, John, and Lori are the traitors. I'm
Mhm.
like, I mean, Lori
50%.
could be a good idea. Like, she's kind of been out of the drama. She has these theories that nobody's really listened to. She's a kindergarten teacher, but people at one point thought that must be a
Covered.
mask for. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a better finger pointing than Cedric or even than Kevin,
Yeah.
like I think Lori would be better, but it's still wrong. So Netta, Nick, and Pacman are all talking about Michael John crying. And I was laughing though. Michael John was like, oh, I can't see very well, but I don't think there was any tears.
Like it was so fun and hard to watch.
Wait,
It's
oh yeah,
like
you said you want to talk about Michael John's fake
he
tears
was
at the round table,
crying
right?
because what did he say? He's like, I thought about my dog that died when I was 13 and I could start crying. And I'm watching and I'm like, but you're not crying. It was very Angela from Big Brother 26. It's very like I'm crying. My face is doing the thing it's supposed to do, and my body's like, like you're not crying.
Not crying. No tears.
Yeah.
No tears from
Yeah.
Michael John. And Netta, Nick, and Pacman all notice this.
Mhm.
Gail thinks that Aaron and also Netta is a suspect, which is interesting. I'm
Mhm.
like, Netta's been kind of saving Gail here, and Gail is kind of thinking that Netta is a suspect. So,
I feel
uh,
like Gail, like, might know. Like, I don't know if it was her
oh,
or
but she
like
said she can't do that.
yeah,
She's like, oh, I think Netta, but like, I can't do that. She did
like,
say
yeah,
something like
I
that.
feel like she's got a hunch that it's Netta, but she would never banish her. Like, I think that she would I truly believe like, I mean, maybe they had something in the helicopter with, like, Mary Jo and Gail and Netta, like, that we didn't see, where they were like, "Hey, guys, if one of us becomes a traitor, let's
Yeah.
keep each other to the end and we'll recruit each other." Like, I really feel like there was some type of off-camera deal. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, in all honesty, I had that with Crystal in my season until we started playing the game, and then all everything went out the window. But I feel like they've got something going on and they're sticking to it.
Bloody Money thinks that Trina's doing way too much. I do worry for Trina at this point. Was it how hath a woman no fury like a woman scorned?
Yeah,
I
hell
think
has
that
no fury.
Trina might get herself murdered or banished. It's going to be
Yeah.
one of the two. I feel I don't because she's very faithful. She's the faithful of the faithful. And then
Mhm.
she also has wrong reads.
Yeah.
So she's very, very, very tantalizing for the traitors. And
Mhm.
so when we do get up to the conclave, they just talk about, you know what? Let's all work together. Let's just put
But
bygones be bygones.
Kira
Um,
still can't
Kira
do it
even says
though.
that like, even though I've been mad at you, I wasn't completely throwing you under the bus. I'm like, not completely, but you weren't really helping us
She
save that
was,
much.
like, in front of him too, I feel like. But, like, the thing is, when they're in the conclave and they're talking about all being friends again, her jaw is still clenched.
Yeah.
She's still looking at him with disgust.
Yes.
And that was the thing that I thought was wild. I'm watching it going like, "Control your face."
Control your face. Control your face. Well,
You
their
know?
final three for murder is going to be Pac-Man, Mike, or Trana because she thinks that Michael John is a faithful 100%. And this is kind of goes along with like Trana doing way too much. Like
Mhm.
she's so sure that Michael John is a faithful. it might get her out of the game. And so right now I would think that maybe Trana is the person that
I mean, like,
they should murder.
it's such a stupid move for Michael John to allow that to happen.
I don't think he even realizes that
But
though.
that's the thing, is that, like, he's so easily manipulated, like, these girls can just lead him right to the fire and throw him in, and he's gonna, like, he does think for himself, but it's also, like, I don't think he's acting confused. Like, I do think certain things confuse him about the game, or, like,
Yes, I
maybe
don't
he
think
thinks
though that he is
differently.
going to recognize that Trana thinks that he is a faithful,
He's not.
and that's why they want to get her out of the game. And
Yes.
she's definitely somebody that's 100% faithful as well.
Yeah,
So
exactly. That part right there will get her absolutely murdered. But the fact that she thinks Michael John, like, he should be fighting to keep her, but I'm with you. I don't think that he will. But then
right.
part of me also wonders, like, they've been tricking us. Production's been doing a decent job. And I'm wondering,
I just
will
is Mike
somebody else
gonna
get murdered?
be? I don't think
That's
that
what I'm
Mike
thinking. I think Mike.
I don't think Mike or
Because
Bachman right
Pac-Man,
now.
well, see, it's so funny. They're
I think
both
Bachman will
on to
stay
Michael
because he's
John.
on to Michael John. Oh, Michael J might allow him Michael John just to take out Bachman.
Well,
Maybe.
I'm wondering, will they get Mike out? They'll tell Michael John that it's because he's on to Michael John, but really they just maybe just get him out because he's on to Michael John, but he doesn't have the leverage behind him and he's super faithful. So if they get Mike out, like if he stays in and he's still pointing the finger at Michael John, nobody's really listening to him.
I
So it
think
doesn't carry any weight.
stronger though would be Trana,
It would be a better move for the
Neda and
girls.
Kira. Mhm.
Yeah. It really would be.
I don't even I don't even think that I think that you're right though. Michael John will probably push for Pacman or Mike over Trana,
Yeah.
but
'Cause
Netta
Mike
could also
doesn't
be
have
like, "You guys have had the last 2 kills. Like it's my turn," and like I think Trana. So
Yeah.
that might happen.
Yeah. But I don't know though, because she is so loud and so wrong, and she's still on to Cedric. Like Trina is pointing fingers away from Netta and Kara. So I feel like it might be a Mike murder. I think we're looking at Mike.
I'm not sure yet. Okay, what were we talking about when I said, "Oh, I'll revisit that in a second"? My
Nick, the nod. Nick and Kara was like, if we're voting for Michael John, I'm going to give you a nod. And then I was saying about how, like, I think that could be like her detriment. Like, what if she does nod or give Nick some kind of a look during a round table? And then that's the thing that somebody sees and that ends up bringing her down.
I don't remember.
It's gone. You ate
It's
it.
gone. It's gone. It's gone. Well, who's our MVP for this episode, would you say?
You don't want to hear it. You don't
Michael
want to hear
John?
it. Yeah, he's been so funny this episode.
Okay, but like most valuable player? Like
No,
he's
and
most
you know what? We need different awards. We need most like entertaining.
okay, so MEP, most
Mhm.
entertaining player. Sure.
Right?
Don't agree here, but it's
Mm,
fine. It's fine. I could allow it to happen.
he's just I laughed a lot this episode. Like even when he's being serious, it makes me chuckle, you know?
Wait, oh
Like
my god,
when he's crying and talking
wait,
about his dog.
what
Um,
am I writing? I'm meant to write most entertaining player, not
most entertaining valuable. Oh, MVP though.
I think maybe Netta for the fact that she had so much restraint.
100% with Netta. Netta's the MVP of the game so far. But like definitely of this episode, she is the one who is coming out on top. All the faithfuls look like idiots. The two other traders are going at each other, and Netta she's
Like,
really the puppet master. She's like, hey, she's quietly moving all the pieces around the board to arrange them to protect her. So she's MVP of the show, of like the episode, and I think she's MVP of the game so far.
I would say so. Like, she's playing a really strong game. I'm enjoying what she's doing. She hasn't made any glaringly bad errors yet. Kind of like what we're seeing with Kira right now. Like, she hasn't done anything super overtly bad. So
Mm.
I think she's
And
in
I
a
think
strong position. And I think that she might, even if she gets any heat on her, I think she has enough numbers to be able to put it on other people
yeah.
until they get to a point where she can't get voted out anymore. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
I also think that the level of sauce that she currently has on her is just accurate to a regular amount of suspicion that everybody will get, because there's nobody going to go through the game without any suspicion. So I feel like
100%.
how much she's suspected is the same amount that like everybody is suspected. So I don't think that I'm not really worried. When I hear somebody say Netta's name, I know I'm like, okay, that's production throwing it in there because everybody's saying everybody's name and production like needs us to think she's going to get caught, but I don't think she's there.
Me neither. Me
Yeah.
neither. Well, I can't remember what I was going to say, but if I do, I'll put it in the comments box below. Final
Mhm.
thoughts for this episode before we say goodbye. Do you have anything to plug?
Um, just season 3 of the Traitors when we cover that, but I mean that'll be in the future. So yeah, no, I mean people can follow me on Instagram or that's it. At Best on the Rock. You can follow me on Instagram. I post stories sometimes, follow my real estate career advice. But other than that, I'm just really looking forward to Monday. I thought this episode was great. It had a lot of fun, it had a lot of comedy, it had some anger, it had some tears. I'm ready now for a traitor to be thrown to the wolves. I want to see it. I think it's going to be between Michael John or Kara. And I don't actually want, you never want anybody to go home, but I think the most fun outcome would be one of those two going home. And I'm excited to see how it happens and what it looks like.
Well, tune in next week, guys. So please subscribe to the camera. I was going to say subscribe to the camera.
Subscribe to the camera, please.
I guess I'm tired today. I'm tongue-tied, tired. Like, what's going
A
on?
long day.
Subscribe to the channel, please. Ring the bell so that if we go live at any random time, you will be notified. We have interviewed the most recent player that was banished, which was Miss Melinda Vargas. So just keep a lookout for that. I should be posting that within the next day or so. And yeah, like this video. Let us know if you think somebody else should be the MVP. Who do you want to see go home? How do you think Netta is playing? Should somebody else be the MVP? Let us know all the tea in the comments box below, and we'll be back next week to talk again.
Bye.
Ciao, everybody. Bye.
Bye. Just stay live.